Hello, my name is Michael Sywick, and this is Gender Roles in Coaching and what major aspects the uh, sex of the coach has on athletes and the overall success of the team. Um, I chose to discuss gender roles in coaching and the effect it has on the athletes and success that stems from the male coaches compared to women's coaches. Um, I've looked into it and I've done a lot of research just because of this topic and this project that male coaches have typically have more success because they have a more dominant mentality and they want to win. Um, Not stating that women don't want to win, it's just that men are more willing to do whatever it takes to find the outcome that they're looking for from the get-go, and they won't let the emotions of their athletes or their own personal emotions or anything in that aspect take control of their decision making or play calling or anything of that aspect. So they just are very neutral minded and are able to stay focused on the priorities at hand, and that's the competition, and that's getting their athletes better for the overall performance. Um, but I chose this topic because I am the head of starting the new women's program in coming years to the current school I'm coaching at, and it's giving me a really good opportunity to grow women's wrestling and be show this direct opportunity of gender roles in coaching because I'm the opposite sex coaching women, um, and I really want to show um, that I have a great opportunity to build a really good program here and be successful at what I'm doing. And it's not because I'm a man or anything like that, but it's because of the overall being a successful coach is what I want to be known for, not because I'm a man, not because of my abilities, but just what I accomplish as a coach is what I would like to be known for, and that's really the aspect I would like to focus on. Um, Coming from that article, this is the main things that we've understand men to be different than women. Um, Women join the sport right here because um, they find it to be more fun. They like a fitness aspect. It's good exercise for them, and they like to use it as a social aspect to make friends. Men typically use it for status to seem more powerful and stuff like that. They love to compete. It's just a natural male way of thinking. They just competition in general, but they also have fun with it. So it's a collective funness for both. Um, the middle one and the bottom right here. Um, the women typically quit for because they have a lack of time and they just can't make it to practice or events or whatever it is, and social activities such as um like dances or stuff like that will take priority for women because it's a cool thing for them to do, and that's something they really love, and that's something that coaches have to deal with and that understand of why they're quitting and why the sport they're starting is not lasting. Men typically quit to lack of the ability, which means they aren't successful enough or good enough to compete in the sport. It's just sometimes it's just not for them, and that's just how it fell in their lap. Um, and deselection is just like they've been cut from the program just because of probably lack of ability, or they're looking for something else, or they want to do a different sport, or they just don't like it in general. But this is this top right corner up here. Coaching women try to is um, is very different than coaching men because women typically are very willing to try new techniques, and whatever you show them they absorb it like sponges, and they're willing to learn everything that you teach them. um, and they'll give you the respect that right away. They won't make you earn it. They will just take your word for it, and they'll just try moves the way tell them to try them, and they'll learn the technique. It may take a little more time, but they'll learn the technique and push themselves to be the best they can possibly be, because it gives them a great chance to learn it the fastest. And they really show gratitude, and they're people pleasers. So whenever they're showing gratitude, that's a really positive thing for coaches, because they get direct feedback from their athletes and what they are looking for and what they love and stuff like that. But for men, the coach must prove their knowledge, and and skill, and they must be I'm sorry about that. The coach must prove their knowledge and skill, then they will receive the respect. So if the coach is a 4-time, 5-time All-American, undefeated national champ, if they're coached for all these prestigious schools, that will propel male athletes to respect them and follow their lead and give them the respect they deserve, because of the fact that they have accomplished the goals that they will set out to accomplish in their upcoming future. This is just my example that men are having much more success in both men's sports and women's sports, and it's really not even that close. If you look this up, Mike Krzyzewski, he's the men's basketball coach for Duke, I believe. He has 1,202 wins. He has the most all-time for men's basketball. Gino Auriemma for women's basketball, 1,149 wins. Jay Martin, Ohio Central, for men's soccer, 683 wins. Anson Durrance, I don't remember. I think it's Western Colorado. For women's soccer, it's 1,061 wins. Larry Bach for West Virginia, and for women's volleyball, 1,348 wins. Patrick Dorywalsk from Penn State, in men's volleyball, 771 wins. All these coaches are the winningest, and I chose these sports specifically to show them winningest coaches, because these are the most popular women's sports in college. These are the sports that most girls go to college for, and that they are competing at the highest level at. So that's why I chose these 3 sports, and I showed that all the men's coaches are typically have the highest success rate and are doing the best coaching them, because I mean, you look at the years statistic for these guys. Yes, they have a lot more years, but if you break it down by season, they have still significantly more wins than even the next male coach and the female. And not taking away from any of these female coaches' successes, it's just they're not even close to what these people have accomplished on these lists. And that's a great thing from these coaches, and I'm sure somebody will pass them eventually, but right now these are your leaders. I just asked a few questions to athletes that I have either coached or I have become friends with or stuff like that, to gather some data. And this is Michael Land. He's a 2-time NAI national qualifier. He is a 133-pound wrestler that graduated last year from Reinhardt. This is what he said about having his preference for male to female coaches. It said, "I am used to having male coaches. I like having a male coach because they usually are more authoritative, and I can relate to them more. In a sport like wrestling, there is a huge difference in how a male can do things compared to how a female can do things, so I prefer a male. I wouldn't mind having a female coach if she knew what she was coaching and teaching. However, I think she also have to understand there's a huge difference between coaching men compared to women. I feel like there's something, you can always learn something from anybody, and I'm open-minded, so I wouldn't shoot down the idea of being coached by a female." I think he said that great, and he's a really high level wrestler. So, um, him being open minded really shows that women do have the opportunity to coach. It's just there's high levels of coaches already established in all of these sports and all of these events that just are taken over already. That will probably stay like that for a while, but but women's coaches are on the rise, and they'll be very successful, and I'm excited to see who the women's coaches are that lead the way and that are very successful in their sports. Um, this is Mallie Eberhardt. She's a D2 NCAA All American 3 times. She's in women's lacrosse, and she said males. And I asked her the same question if she preferred male or female coach. She said males would be better. Women coaches tend to be more hormonal and crazy, and they typically struggle to control their emotions. This is coming from a really high level athlete that knows how to be successful and knows how to work on their own time. And she had a female coach in college and a male coach, because the coaches actually just like changed jobs or whatever it was. But she's determined that a male coach would be better. I mean, for her opinion. But she determines that males would be better because they're more focused and driven on the specific task at hand. And in her experience, that women's coaches typically lose sight of what's important and typically don't keep their mind on what needs to stay in order to be successful. This is just a quick little stat thing from how the coaches are. There are 166,192 head coaches currently employed in the United States. 33.7 of all head coaches are women, while 66.3% are men. My opinion is I believe that there's a higher success rate for men in college athletics, because when it comes to leading a team, a man will be more attentive and focused on the goal in mind, and having the opportunity to speak with quite a few high-level women's athletes about what they prefer solidifies and shows that my opinion is valid, because they themselves prefer men coaching them over women, because they are more focused and willing to do what it takes to win more times than not. After hearing their opinion, I still have faith that there are plenty of women who are better than men's coaches who has ever coached, but the data that I've collected have been proven that men as leaders and successful head coaches. So just because of my opinion doesn't mean I'm right or anything, but from the data I've collected and what I've studied, that men typically are more successful coaches, and they're preferred from their athletes just due to attentiveness and focus on the game, and don't let like any emotions or anything get in the way. These are all my citations and everything, so that's very much it. Thank you so much for a great class, and I appreciate everything. Thank you. Bye.